Good morning, Winston. Good morning, listeners. Happy new month.
Happy New Month to you too. Gloria Brown is with us for this 30-minute segment and she invites your questions. Our studio numbers 954-792-1170 and 305-948-1170, and she will start by giving us her number.
Yes, listeners, good morning to you again. And my name is Gloria Brown, an attorney in Kingston and Ocho Rios, Jamaica. If you want to contact me, you may call me or send me a WhatsApp message at 876-387-3183, 876-387-3183.
And housing and the ownership of house and land has changed in Jamaica dramatically since the 28th of October last year. What are some of the more recent developments where, for example, people in the West trying to convince whoever it is that this piece of property here is mine?
Yes, so that is a challenge, but I think we have not seen too much of it as yet, but it's going to happen because right now people are just trying to get a roof over their heads and to put back life to some amount of normalcy. But I've heard of the situations in terms of the boundary pegs as we anticipated. The boundary pegs have gone. The trees that you know that your boundary was at the ackee tree, not even the root is there again. So we're going to be having some of those challenges that we're going to have to, I guess the government might have to put something on a broad scale really to see if they can maybe send surveyors in and use their instruments to reestablish boundaries. Of course, the demand for housing is up, and demand means that prices will go up because a lot of the housing stock has been destroyed or damaged. And it came at the same time, Winston, when the NHC increased the threshold of what you can get as what you can borrow. And whenever the NHC increases the amount you can borrow, house prices in Jamaica go. People just put the prices up to match the NHC benefits. So, and three persons can join together to get a benefit now. So a lot of things impacting the prices. So for persons out there who own property or are in the US, don't push to sell right now. Or don't push to sell, or even if you're going to sell, make sure you have a valuation done and know the value of your property.
In other words, if at any time one did their due diligence where ownership or sale or purchase of property, this is the time.
This is indeed the time. And it's a good time to buy as well, Winston, because as soon as you walk out of the house in Jamaica, the price has gone up. As soon as you walk out, because of the market, and everywhere now is in demand. There's no bush and country, everywhere is being developed. Jamaica is now, and we see what's happening in the world. People want to come home, so demand is there. A lot is being built, but demand is also there.
Which maybe we should take a look today at those people who, some of them, have wanted to come home for a while. Certain circumstances around the world are saying to them, this is the time to go home. What should people like that be looking at then? Why should they be talking to you, for example?
One of the things I want persons to, and I love to talk to them, because I've seen too many mansions that person not meaning. So if you're looking to come home, we get a little advice from persons like us who are in the business. You might not need a 3-bed. You might not need a 3-story house. You might just need a bungalow 3-bedroom. Look at the gated communities. I was talking to a lady last week who has returned home. Her husband has died. She's saying the house is now too big and she's looking something to buy. And she wants to buy in a complex because she says she cannot bother with to getting a gardener to be cutting the lawn every 2 weeks. Because when you pay the maintenance, it will cover everything. So these are some of the things that I want older persons in particular who are coming home to think of. Because it rains a lot in Jamaica, so the grass is growing every day. You have the gardener, you have the different things that when you are in a gated community, your maintenance will cover all kinds of maintenance, or it will maintain your property. So look at some of the things like that. Don't look to be building when you are coming home at age 60 or 70 or 80 or. Don't look to be building something new because our contractors can be a little bit troublesome. So if you can buy something existing and look at whether you really want to go back into the district you came from. If the dynamics have changed, there's a gated community near to your district. So look at that.
One of the things, the word that goes along with gated is the word community. It is, I'm thinking, easier to create and develop community in there because you share so many different things.
That is it. You make lifelong friendships in those communities. We all go into, there's a bus coming to carry all of us to Duns River. The relationships and the community living can be invaluable. All of you can go to church on wherever day you go. There are a lot of things, benefits for this kind of living. And that's something that I want more and more of my listeners to think about before spending their money to buy and build on land. And a lot of the monies we're sending to build on land, we're not going to get a title. Because we hear that Mr. Brown selling out his grandfather's land and we're buying a piece. He never had the right to sell it, so we're not going to see a title for now.
And I am a little disappointed, though, that after all these years, even before you and I had this kind of conversation, people still building mansions?
It's now they are being built.
Oh my gosh.
It's now they are being built. When you look at the 3-4, you wonder if these are hotels and not houses. And the reality is that a lot of the children were never born in Jamaica, or they left Jamaica when they were young, so they're not coming back. And when they come back, they want the all-inclusive experience. And if a lot of them even come, they sleep in the settee and the whatever, and the earbuds, because they're not here for long.
Yeah.
So let us not spend some of the money on ourselves as well. That's something that I want us as people to think about. Travel somewhere, spend some of the money on ourselves more than putting it in these massive structures that we might just have another 20 or so years in.
And not only that, but I'm also thinking that it's pretty difficult to enjoy a home like that. Let me tell you why I think so. The trials and tribulations you went through just to build it, the contractor this, the that, the kind of stress that you go through just to put up that mansion, probably you're never going to really enjoy it.
No, you're not. And when you look at it, most of the time there's something more to be done on it. It's not fully finished. So you're building it for 10, 15 years. You're not going to enjoy it. And by the time you dust one room, another one needs dusting.
And I've seen, I move around. I've seen, as you say, some of these buildings take 5, 10, 15 years to complete. You pass by one at a time and you realize, but wait, half of it is not yet done. And then you say, oh my gosh. Who makes money off of those situations, though?
The contractor.
Okay.
And the persons and the hardwares. Okay, yes. and the pharmacy, because they send up your blood pressure so much that you have to be buying blood pressure.
The pharmacy as well. Oh my God.
The pharmacy as well, Winston. So I want to encourage the listeners. And just remind the listeners, my number is 876-387-3183. Especially if you want me to get a title for you. And I've been doing that for so many of my listeners. I got one for a listener I met for the first time this week. And he was so pleased because he told me, Winston, that the property that I just got the title for, his mother had tried getting the title from 1976. That's 50 years ago. And never got it. And now that they have got the title, they have established, because I had it for him for more than a year because he was abroad, they have established an Airbnb on it, and they are so excited because the 5 siblings have come together and put up this night, and now they have their title. So anybody wants me to get a title for them, just WhatsApp me the word title to 876-387-3183. I don't need to meet you to help you to get the title, but it's crucial that you get one.
In addition, we're looking at situations here where families are involved. Talk about why families should get more involved earlier in the game.
Yes, and as you say that, Winston, it's a word to the older generation, to get the younger generation, as you say, involved. Because we can create a lot of wealth if we really work together as a community, as a family. Because look at other persons. Many of you have seen examples where families come together and have really been able to create generational wealth. So when you can get all persons on board, like the family I just spoke about, where 5 of them have come together, put up a nice little cottage that they can rent out and they can stay there when they come. And this is out in St. Thomas. So family, a chain, when you have a chain, it's stronger when all the links can come together. So I'm encouraging the persons, look at it, look at the estate planning, look at who you're going to put on the titles. Make the will so that you can leave the continuity is there in terms of creating the wealth. And let us work together as a team.
Let's try for a caller here for Attorney Gloria Brown. Good morning.
Good morning. Could I speak to Ms. Gloria Brown after here?
Good morning. Listening, sir.
Yeah, but she's not able to talk to you after here, boss. You know that, right? You want to take down her number?
Yeah, I have the number and I text her several
Yeah, but
times.
you can't talk to her after you. Try again after the program, all right? As soon as you hear her, don't sign off the program. Try her again, all right?
Yes, and I will be available to talk to him at that time.
Okay?
Okay.
Good. You too can talk to Attorney Gloria Brown on the air anytime inside of the next 18 or so minutes. Our phone number is 954-792-1170, 305-948-1170. Okay, and there are the business-minded among us, especially among the young. In a conversation I had on the weekend, a family of sisters inherited the family home, and it's now an Airbnb.
Yes.
But they, I think, are fortunate because their names apparently got placed on the documents from the get-go.
Which is a part of the estate planning. As I said, the warm gift is better than the cold gift.
Mm-hmm.
Because I encourage the parents, if you can add the children to the title now, and the parents can stay on the title as life tenants. But if you can add the children now, so if anything happens to you, they don't have to go through probate, because they don't live in Jamaica, and the probate process for us is tedious. It takes a year or so at average to do the probate. So if the parents can do that kind of planning, then it will give the children a head start, Winston. So when parents pass or the children have it from early, they can start doing something. And when they come to Jamaica, they themselves can stay in these properties. So it's a win-win.
One of the things we talked about as we started this morning was the fact that there are people outside of Jamaica who, for one reason or the other, are going to have to be going home. You're talking about people in their 30s and 40s, for example, who are teaching in these different places. They have to go home. Some of them have to go home.
So that's the demand for housing again,
Exactly my point.
Yes. That's the demand. And a lot of those persons are coming in with some money.
Yes.
So they will push up the price of houses as well, and rentals.
Yes, that too. Wow.
So so therefore, those of those listening to me who have the family land, etc., it might be a time to hold on to it. Might be a time to hold on to it, because everything is becoming valuable, because the world is changing every day, Winston.
Yeah. You mentioned titles earlier, but maybe a good time as well in this context to talk a little bit about writing wills.
Yes, and I always want to encourage my listeners. It's very, very important to have wills, and the wills must be signed. Even last week, a client came in to me about the parent who made a will. It was signed by one person, witnessed by one person.
Oh boy.
The will must be signed or by the person who is making it, and two witnesses must be there. I'm begging my listeners, you don't need to have a lawyer even to write it. Just get a will in place to say what your wishes are, sign it, date it, and get two persons to witness it, and the three of you must be there at the same time. Also remember, if you get married, your will is not valid again. Marriage kills your will. It revokes your will, so you have to make a will after you have got married.
And wills are not scary things. I think so many of us continue to be scared of writing a will because of some of the superstitions our culture has generated over time.
Yes, but when we see the amount of contention in estates for persons who have not made wills, that alone should let us get rid of the belief that it's going to kill us, because it's going to make us not rest in peace if we don't make them, because the amount of conflict left. Because, as I've always said, my mother says the house is going to be mine when she dies, because I looked after her, I buried her, I've done everything for her, and the other children have not even spoken to her in 10 years, but she did not make a will. Yeah. So when she dies and she doesn't have a husband, the will is going to go to all of her children, those who care for her, those who did not, because she did not make the will. So we need to write it down.
One of the things that you've talked about when we have our chat is the fact that you do seminars from time to time, and how people, you don't allow them to leave unless they do some paperwork. Yes, that's what I'm pushing as well, Winston. As a matter of fact, for this month I have 7 seminars. And what some of the listeners could do as well is that if listeners are interested, they could just send me their info, and I could ask permission for some of these, because some of these are online seminars. Right. I could ask permission for you to just get the links so persons could just listen. Okay, and be able to participate and get the knowledge, because knowledge is power, especially in these times. What we've come to learn as well too is that throughout your experiences, I in a different way have learned that people think that these are really incredibly insurmountable problems, and then when you take care of their business for them, they say, "Oh, I didn't know it would be so easy."
That is it. We only need to start. We only need to start, because I find that sometimes when the clients want the title, they want it yesterday, even though they have been sitting on it for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage them. I want to encourage the person to realize that you need to just make a start. Don't wait until there's trouble. Because most times the clients come into the office, the first word I say to them, now, what is the fire? Because the whole family coming, you know that is problem, Winston. You know they hear something has happened.
We're going to grab
and
a
they will
caller.
tell you, I've been on it for 40 years. Okay, Winston.
After we grab the caller, I want you to talk about how sudden things like a Melissa can change everything.
Yes.
Hello.
Good morning, Winston. Good morning, Miss Brown.
Good morning.
The next thing, I just want to drop a little bit of this. They're building all this big house, and when they get to my age, at 8, which is 87, they have no retirement benefit. They have no doctor bill, nothing to pay doctor bill. They have to be asking family to bury them. I'm one of them who's been in it lately with this family thing. All these big houses. I was talking to a niece, adopted niece of mine, over the weekend about the same thing. What you gonna live on? Where you gonna get money to buy your food? Where you get money to pay your bills? What's gonna happen? I don't know.
Exactly.
These are some of the things. Not even the big the Airbnb yet, but nothing to live on.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Nothing.
Yes. Thank you for that.
I was saying.
All right.
I was saying to her, you know, I lived in England. I came from England to here. I have my benefits. I am not going back home to live because I'm too old for that now. I'm 87. So I'm not. I have my benefits, and I'm okay.
Thanks so much for sharing with us. And that is something else that we need to take a look at as well, because when you have implied all along, you spent all of the money to build this home. Where's the money going to come from to pay the water bill, the light bill?
That is it. And to pay the pharmacy for the medication.
Oh my gosh.
And some of us could save some of this money where if we get very ill, we could even go back to America to get some of the better health care. But we have spent everything, because what is happening, we are competing with people who, in the train of things, it's not important, but we just want to show off. And I guess it's a part of the the history behind us.
I listen, and I know these things. I am a part of the culture. I came out of the culture. But in 2026, it cannot make any sense.
None at all. None at all.
Because one of the things I'm just thinking is that how could we bring the information of the experiences of people who have built mansions and compare it or contrast it with people who have gone back home and now live in gated communities?
Well, it would be good for somebody, maybe a university student, to undertake a study like that. Something like that would really in sociology, because we can see the difference, I'm sure, in the lifestyle. So the person, as I said, the client who came and saw me in my notarial office, who wanted to sell her big house because it was too big to get into the gated. She's the one who was telling me about her friends who are in gated.
Oh boy.
She came out of England. Yes, and the benefits, how they are happy and how they are united. She goes to visit them, so she has seen the benefits. So we want to encourage our listeners, not after pushing you to buy gated, but we're saying it can give you a better quality of life. You can just buy a 2-bedroom apartment in there. You can ask for a ground floor if the need's not so good. But many of us building these 3-bedroom things, these 3-story mansions, and our needs have failed us. So that's a part of the black culture. The needs have failed us. So we need to look at that. And those with a little piece of land, as I said, Winston, let me help you to get the title. I'll help you to make the will. I'll help you to probate the will and sort out the family problems so that you can move on. And maybe you could sell something to buy something.
Yeah. Which is something else we should probably be talking about going into the future. You have this mansion, your knee's not so great, it is cumbersome to take care of. Maybe it's time to sell that to get into a gated community.
Yes, definitely. So you sell that, have a little money to live on, and buy something a little less. So that is something, because that's what the lady who came to me, that is what she is looking at. And remember that sometimes when we come with the spouses, Winston, sometimes one spouse will pass away and you don't want to stay again. So look at everything that could happen ahead and plan for it.
And I've given you anecdotal evidence about some returnees from England. Why are they picking up on the gated communities and the people from the U.S. not? At least it doesn't appear that way.
Yes, I'm not, yes. Well, I think you're right. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's been sold to them. Maybe it's been marketed to them over there, in a better way.
Okay.
And maybe the English live more in community. I guess the Americans probably work so hard that they don't have time. They don't have time to form relationships.
Now you're talking.
I find the English seem to form better relationships, those who have returned from England.
It would appear it is part of the survival strategy.
Yes. Because when we went up, all of us were living in the one little room.
Yes.
So we formed relationships to survive because England was so awful for our forebears who went.
And
the Americans, I think they have managed a little better economically, so they are more isolated.
Yes. Yes, because there's this social mobility that brings people from certain areas into other areas that are supposedly exclusive. So you keep reducing, as you progress, you keep reducing what we call community.
Yes.
Wow.
Because you'll hear Americans say, where I live, I'm the only black person.
I'm telling you, that's exactly what
it's a boast. Yes, and they realize that you're isolating yourself.
Yeah. And we're ending up living in areas across the continental U.S., in areas that have displaced animals and are prone to fires.
Yes, okay. And have displaced original settlers as well. And sometimes many of them have displaced our very own.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you look at the fortunes of the U.S., 2026, you have people who are going to be deported. That's just a fact of life. There are people who are tired of the harassment that they go through on a day-to-day basis. Those are the people who I'm understanding from the grapevine are looking at moving back home.
Okay.
The question is, how many of those people have property, have land, have house? And what are their plans going to be?
That is it. And some have not kept in touch with family that they had, so family not going to be too welcoming.
Yeah. And the reality is, and you suggested earlier as well, that people should not necessarily just automatically think that they're going to go back to the district where they used to live once upon a time. Sometimes it's not even safe to do.
That is it. And sometimes many of us are not going to be able to. Things have changed so much that many of us can't find our district again,
Yeah. Things have changed so dramatically.
Yeah, things have changed. And we have a generation that it might not suit you to live with some of these nieces and nephews, which is why I'm saying don't go and build and send money to build on the family land. Not a good idea. You might be building family house. Don't do it.
Another caller for us. Good morning. Yes, caller, you're on.
Good morning. Can you
Good morning.
please ask her to repeat our numbers again for me?
Okay, so my number is 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. And I remind the listener, those who want me to get a title for you, just WhatsApp me the word title. You want anything to do with a will, just WhatsApp the word will to 876-387-3183.
Okay, so let's do a quick review of what we've talked about. Let's look again at the matter of titles, especially in the circumstances post Melissa.
Yes. So in post Melissa, as we said, from the little after Melissa, we spoke about many persons would have lost their titles. That's something we need to look at. Many persons are not able to have any documentation to show ownership, so they're going to run into trouble. So those are things that persons need to look at. Everything has been destroyed that they had before. So I want persons to think about those things.
Talk about
look about the
wills as
go
well.
ahead. Right. So many wills have been destroyed. My mother made a will, for example. I live in Santa Cruz, but everything is destroyed. Mom's will has been destroyed. That's a challenge. So we want to encourage persons to make wills, and having made them, let somebody keep a copy. Okay, let the children get a copy. If you don't have any confidence in the children, ask the pastor, ask your friend, ask the lawyer. When I make wills, I make 4, I keep 1, and I just said to the clients, just tell your relatives if anything happened to you, talk to Gloria Brown. She'll be able to give you some assistance. But make a will and let persons know you have a will. It's extremely important.
And we can quickly include as well the matter of property management on the ground in Jamaica.
Yes, so even when you build that, when you have the house in Jamaica and you have done the Airbnb, remember that you can have companies that will manage the property for you. They will collect your rent. They'll make sure that when a guest leaves, the property is cleaned. They'll make sure your lawn is cut. So you don't have to worry and saying, I don't want nobody near my house and leaving it. Because remember also that if you leave property for 12 years and you don't exercise any control and somebody captures it, they will own it after 12 years, even though you are paying the taxes. The taxes don't count. It's the occupation that counts. So protect your property as well. That's something I try to preach every week. Know what is happening. If anybody is living at your property, let them pay $1. Even your mother, get something in writing, because you might find that you have lost your property sometime. Not your mother will take it, but your siblings can say your mother owned the property when she died. So it belongs to all of them. So protect your interests. And remember, if you want to just get back to me, call me. WhatsApp me. The lady who called earlier to say she can't get through to me, just call me right now. 876-387-3183.
And Council, we'll be talking soon.
Thank you, Winston. Bye, listeners.
Attorney Gloria Brown from Land Solutions in Jamaica with us for that 30-minute segment. Stand by for the news. The damage caused by Hurricane Melissa to Jamaica has ballooned to more than $12 billion, some 2 trillion Jamaican dollars. This is WAVS News. This is based on the most recent assessment provided by the Planning Institute of Jamaica at its quarterly media briefing yesterday. Despite the upward revision, the PIOJ has improved its expectations for the Jamaican economy over the short and medium term. Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, provided a detailed and comprehensive assessment that puts the total damage higher.
Damage, losses, and additional costs associated with the passage of Hurricane Melissa on October 28, 2025 was estimated at 1.952 trillion Jamaican dollars, or US $12.232 billion. Or that is equivalent to 56.7% of 2024 gross domestic product.
In Barbados, meanwhile, the Minister of Educational Transformation remained in the well of Parliament yesterday, answering questions from the various members of Parliament on their plans for the upcoming financial year. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on students across the country and the subsequent use of technology was an issue raised by St. Michael's South Member of Parliament, Kirk Humphrey. Senior psychologist in the Ministry of Educational Transformation, Juanita Brathwaite-Wharton, revealed that those programs enacted to assist students never stopped.
From the initial onset of the COVID period when we were all in lockdown, our social workers were busy at work. They continued to do home visits of students whom were identified even before COVID, who we knew were vulnerable. Additionally, the Sandy Lane counseling program, during the online period, we continued online counseling.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister used a press conference yesterday to update the nation following the recent heads of government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Godwin Friday explained that CARICOM leaders agreed to provide coordinated humanitarian aid, with St. Vincent and the Grenadines playing its part given the nation's long-standing ties with Cuba.
Discussed the emerging humanitarian crisis in Cuba. This was done at different levels. It was agreed amongst the heads that humanitarian assistance be provided to help to ease the current dire situation there. This effort will be coordinated by the Secretariat of CARICOM, and a mechanism for getting the humanitarian assistance to Cuba is being put in place.
Turks and Caicos Island Premier Charles Missick is announcing that work permit holders and non-resident Turks and Caicos Islanders will no longer qualify for government-funded overseas medical care, citing a sharp rise in spending that he said the country can no longer sustain. This is Winston Barnes, WAVS News.
The following is an independently produced program. The views expressed within are not necessarily the views of WAVS Radio, its staff, or management, but are strictly those of the hosts, guests, and callers.